Hello and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
And I am Chris. We're two dudes that talk about horror movies every week. This week we are talking about a little Ari Aster movie from a couple years ago now. There is some, how do I say this? There's not a solid understanding of how to pronounce this. I've
I
read it
think it's
so many different
bullshit,
ways.
Chris. It's clearly Midsommar?
Midsummer. Midsummer. Listen, however you want to pronounce it. That's what we're talking about today.
It is definitely not Midsummer. There's not a summer. It's Somar. So I think it's Midsummer. Midsommar. I'm going to stick with that, Chris.
In some manner, I'm there with you. We'll see where we end up. If you have preference, let us know. But for now, anything we want to talk about before we get into the nitty gritty?
No, it's great to be here for season 5, Chris. Ready for another year. A little bit of a format change. Tighten up these episodes a little bit and try to keep it moving for you. So let us know what you think.
We'll see everybody next week. It's good show. Good show, Dave.
Midsommar or Midsummer? Yes, it's one of those. Bye.
What an episode. Classic. It's a classic. That said, let's do everybody's favorite thing. Hit an ad, come back, and we'll be talking about Midsommar.
All right, Chris. We're going to jump right into this puppy. I think you and I had similar opinions. Maybe not popular opinions about Midsommar when we first watched this movie.
We did a mini episode, kind of a mini episode in one of the older episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it at the beginning of the show and probably plopped in some spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, and spoiler alert if you haven't watched this yet, but come on, get with the program.
Yeah, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah. My first impression of this movie was, how do you say it? Boredom? I didn't like it.
Accurate.
I didn't like it. But I've brought this up several times when we've talked, and I've watched it a few times now, and it's grown on me as
What's a few?
6 or 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have turned this on, and sometimes maybe not getting all the way through. I've turned this on several times as my put me to sleep movie, and
there's a joke there, but I shan't go in those grounds just yet. Not yet.
Yeah, don't put me to sleep at the vet's office to this movie. That would be the cinema classic masterpiece, maybe the greatest movie ever filmed. Showgirls is the one I want to die to. But this movie has really grown on me. I've kind of looked at the layers. At first glance, this is the anti-Hereditary, because Hereditary is dark and foreboding, and it's more of a classic horror and a classic cult. And Midsommar really does, even though there's a lot to contrast, there's a lot of comparison here too. It really works well in tandem. This is the yin and yang with Midsommar, with Hereditary, and I've come around. I think it's great. Chris, has your opinion of it changed? Did you watch it again?
I did watch it. I watched it one more time, so that makes 2
okay.
for me. But what you were just saying, how they are kind of companions in a way. I was reading an article with Ari Aster,
nerd,
who was saying the same kind of thing what you said. He didn't even realize. I think he said he wrote this even before Hereditary. Like it was a few years old when it came time to do this, and he didn't realize how much it had in common with Hereditary until they were making it or had made it. And yeah, so I think you're on the level. I don't know. We'll see where the conversation takes us tonight. The foreboding, and I've read before online people talking about this foreboding and this dread that they felt in this movie, almost essentially from Jump Street, and it never left them, even in these bright, sunny and colorful
Mhm.
shots. They were always feeling that. I can't say that I ever did,
I actually
unfortunately.
I can't agree with them here. I mean, I don't feel this
Yeah.
foreboding. Um,
I narrowed it down
but
though. You know what I think it is?
what's that?
I think it's people that haven't been around. They've not driven roads near where Amish people lived and seen them out in their horse-drawn carriages and stuff.
It is
They're
kind of weird, isn't it? You see one.
and yeah, because like when I watch, that is a joke, but it's kind of not. Watching this and they're in their group and stuff, the cult, and it's like this vaguely reminds me of that in a way. And I don't think the Amish are making their elders jump to their deaths or anything, but there may be some similar parallels. But you know, we're kind of used to seeing these people that are displaced by time or whatever. It's
Mhm.
so maybe I don't know. I thought it was
It,
funny at first, but there is kind of some weird, maybe truth to that.
I think it's always weird when I see an Amish in the wild, and especially when we were down at Harlan and Larry's, and the Amish dude come down the road, and like uh, uh, it was just weird. I was like, "Oh my god, you guys live that close to the Amish people? That's kind of
My
okay."
yeah, my two cousins live right down the road from like what is a group of Amish called? Well, anyways,
A flock? Is it
a
a
f-
flock? A
a, fl-
flock.
oh, get down, kids! It's a flock of the Amish.
Uh,
But I mean, these communities exist in real life. Maybe not to the degree of Midsommar, but I mean, it's not something that felt completely outside of the
mhm.
realm for me. Which may be some of that weird feeling that people experiences from that.
It is trippy. Like, I mean, they take the mushroom tea and they
Yeah.
trip out, and like the grass grows through her hand, and the tree is like flowing and
One of
breathing.
one of my
So,
favorite like horror moments is there when she starts to feel that kind of like isolation or whatever and starts to walk away and sees the people that she thinks are laughing at her,
mhm.
and then she runs away into the like little shed or whatever it is, and she sees like this weird face in the mirror, and then her face distorts and she's like fuck everything and runs out. And that was like kind of a classic, one of the few like classic-y kind of horror moments in it. And by the way, mushroom tea, I would choose death first. That sounds absolutely terrible to me.
I, I don't know.
I
I
even made
don't
a
know.
note
I
of that
mean,
in my notes. Mushroom tea, no thank you.
I
Nah,
am
not at all.
definitely not going to trip mushroom tea if I'm an emotional wreck
Yeah,
over the murder suicide that my sister committed to my parents, and am still getting no support from my supposed emotional partner.
yeah.
I watched it thinking, okay, I'm going to give uh, never smoked weed Seth Rogen a chance and see just like, are we being too hard on him? Because, is it his duty to carry her emotional baggage?
Right.
But, if he's kind of in this shit or get off the pot stage and he never gets off of
Yeah,
it. And really,
exactly.
I wanted to defend you, Seth Rogen, after taking a shower, and I couldn't. I mean, the only thing I can say is
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
one part. They're like, "How long have you been together?" He's like, "I don't know, over 3.5 years." She's like, "Four next week." He's not that far off. I mean, come on.
uh,
I honestly, people ask me how long Stella and I can tell you the date of our wedding. But
mhm.
then people are like, "How long have you been married?" And I have to like take off shoes and count. I
That's
don't know. And
When you've been together a
I,
long time, that's math work, dude. Like,
yeah. And if
piss
Stella's
off.
listening to this, I don't know because every day seems like we're on a honeymoon.
There you go.
So, uh,
But yeah, so Danny's trauma, it's a lot of her, like, she talks to people and she tries to be friendly and all that, and she doesn't bring it up. Every time it's brought up, it's by somebody else, and then she has to run away and escape it every time that it seems that happens. And
well, she's never dealt with her grief. She's never faced it.
yeah, and when it gets the jump in the movie, when it gets to the elderly people jumping off the cliff, I thought that was interesting because it's the first time so far in the movie where she doesn't run away from like this traumatic thing, and she kind of has to see the death like up close and experience it, and you can see some kind of a change in her demeanor as this is happening. What that means, I don't know.
Yeah. Can we talk about the leap? I mean, the woman goes and she dives, and the dude gets fancy and suffers for it. Man, just go face first into that rock. You know, just I'm not trying to get fancy and break both my legs and jam my hip bone into my chest cavity, and then have to be hammer broed by my family. Dude, try to get fancy with it.
I mean, if you're gonna go out, make it memorable, I guess. He's like, "This is my shot."
He could have at least like do a flip. I'm surprised somebody in the crowd didn't be like, "Do a flip," or just dive off and then take the relaxed pose and just all the way down, just smiling at the crowd and relaxed posing. Something epic, man.
Dude, I would earmuffs, kids. Dick out, piss, middle finger, and then go. Because fuck them.
Yeah, I don't think they would even care if you hung full dong, because the movie doesn't care if you hang full dong.
Yeah.
So,
like, fuck all of you. I'm out.
My goal in that moment is, look, it's 90 years before they do this again. And I want 90 years from now, I want, some poor schmuck that's not even born yet now. I want him feeling the pressure like, 90 years ago, man, I remember when my daddy used to tell me how Dave went, and he went in style, man. You better do something.
And
what if you filled your cheeks with glitter and then went head first, and when your head explodes, the glitter just, poof. How epic would that be?
That's a real, like, Rip Torn kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm going for it.
They'd be like, "Did you see that one guy pissing and flipping the bird? But did you see that other guy with the glitter explosion? I don't know."
Yes. I want to make it so epic that afterwards everyone's like, maybe we should not wait 90 years for the next Add a Steppo. Maybe we should need to do this again. This was fun. This was great.
Maybe we need some hors d'oeuvres or like some beverages out here. But so with that,
can I get some period tea?
Maybe. Oh man, I don't know. Mushroom and that. No thanks. So the religious cult, their customs. We start to see unfold, and it's, I think, intriguing because they explain a lot of the things, like, don't do this, you can do this, but don't do that, and as things go, and a lot of it is these assholes like disrupting their traditions and breaking rules that they shouldn't be breaking, and then they're dead. Which, I mean, religion is fucking weird. So, who are we? Can we really say, no, you're wrong, in that regard? So, it's
What a silly religion, he said as he turned a piece of bread and a shot glass full of wine into the body and blood of their savior and ate it.
Yeah. I mean, if
Who's
you
the judge? I mean,
yeah, if you say one is wrong, why can't you? I mean, you gotta say several are, if not all of them. So it's every religion has their weird shit. Um, and then anything else you want to talk about? Kind of on the. I mean, should we even call them a cult? Are they a cult? I mean, I guess they are a cult.
I think so. So I held back, but while we were looking at the IMDb trivia, there was one trivia that I did find interesting, and it was about the food. So I'm going to have to watch this again.
The
The
peeled
trivia
muffin?
according to IMDb said pay close attention to the meal scene, with the one exception of Christian taking a bite out of his own meat pie. We never see the natives actually eat anything. Their forks are always vacant, and only the very tips of the ends of the forks go to their mouths. But they seem to choose something. In addition to the meals, also pay attention to the food being served. Almost all of it is rotten or rot-ed, the meat in particular.
Oh,
So
I think I've seen something about that. Yeah.
as soon as I read that, and I read this right before the show today, it got me thinking. In conjunction with this, what if they aren't eating because they don't need to eat, because the ritual works?
Ah.
They are fed by the sun. It's just a thing I put out there.
I mean, that's pretty scary in and of itself. It's like, yeah, religion. And, this cult. Bullshit, right? But what if it's not? That's fucked up. It
Yeah.
really is.
I mean, and then now compare that to Hereditary. That cult successfully brought back
Yeah.
Payman, put him into the body of a young lad, but also Payman is in there with the soul of his sister, weirdo.
That's something that I wish was in this. I wish there was a payment connection in Midsommar.
That would have been cool.
It didn't even have to. Just a mention of payment would have been, I feel like, sufficient for my intrigue.
I did make a sketch of the little runic symbol on the inside of the bathroom door right before the redheaded devil comes out and picks Christian as the fool, comes out and kicks him, But before she does that, she stays in the bathroom, she fixes her hair, she gives the old, however they breathe, and then she walks out, and on the bathroom door is a runic carving, and it's not the same. It is not the same. I look. But it is very similar to the runic carving from Hereditary that's like on the telephone pole and on Grandma's necklace. So, I mean, just feels like another kind of parallel.
Yeah.
And, maybe Ari is telling us that, not that all religions are bullshit, but all religions are real.
Don't like that.
So...
still on the topic of religion, we get into the indoctrination. Say the word for me. Indoctrination of Danny. And she clearly doesn't approve of a lot of the things going on initially, but eventually, like, her trauma and brokenness, right? Like, kind of take her and just consume her. And then guess what? The religious cult's there to swallow her up. And, it's like, hey, we know you're broken and vulnerable and like looking for some kind of solace and stuff. Well, come into the church. We'll help you. Does that sound familiar? Sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah. I mean, so
they don't say that with so many words.
Did she get rejected by the Christianity? If Christianity is represented or by Christian, did she get rejected? Did that religion leave her feeling empty? Did it not heal her wounds? I would say that's very unchristian of Christianity, but I would say there are a lot of Christian churches that don't really follow the stuff.
Oh,
Jesus?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jesus seems like a cool dude, man. He's like, no, man, feed hungry people, give houses and shit to the poor people, and don't be a dick. Like Jesus had 3 rules.
Yeah. But
So
that's a good point. I didn't even think about the guy being named Christian and that being any kind of parallel to that, but that's a good point. That is a good point. I completely glossed over it earlier, but you mentioned, the kind of tripping out scene, the mushroom tea scene. I read somebody's review on, I don't know if it was on Google or where it was, but they recommended viewing this movie while on a little bit of something. You know what I mean?
I would probably freak the fuck out.
And I'm sure there are movies that are made for that kind of thing, and movies that have been retroactively kind of made for the thing. But God, I don't know that this would. I don't know. I never went down that road, but thoughts, opinions.
I would freak the fuck out, man. It would not. It would fuck me up. This is not a good trip movie.
I don't think it would be.
No, like I tripped watching Pink Floyd The Wall. I've tripped watching, listening to Megadeth and watching Denise Austin's beachfront workout, which is amazing because it looks like she's dancing to Megadeth. But no, this is not a feel-good movie, man. I mean, it's bright and colorful, and I struggled to make a connection. I'm sure it's there somewhere. Even at the start is dark. The start of this movie, color palette-wise, fits with Hereditary, except
it does, yeah.
Her sister is wearing like an orange, so it's like stands out even in the dark palette. It stands out the orange shirt her sister wears, and she dresses up mom and dad with colorful and positions them pretty and puts flowers up, and it's almost like her own death ritual. So, but it's super realistic and super scary when you first see Sis, and her eyes bulged out, and she's puked, but she's got the thing taped to her fucking face still.
I kind of had forgot that was the case. I remember her sister being dead, but I didn't remember the thing about the parents also dying. And I was like, shit, I thought it was just her sister. But, anyways. Let's talk about this ending, because, so, let me read this to you. So I Googled Midsommar earlier today, and I was just looking around, and, like the little question fields that pop up, it's like, I don't know, is Pedro Pascal handsome? And you click on it, and it's like, of course. And here, one of the things that popped up was, what's the point of Midsommar? And digitalspy.com says Midsommar is essentially, okay, now bear with me, is essentially a 2.5-hour study of one woman's emotional journey towards emancipation from a toxic relationship. The film has a happy ending, more or less. That is their blurb.
For who? Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what? I feel like, okay, I mean, you're kind of on the path, I guess, with her emotional stuff. But I mean, God, that's just, it feels like they're not seeing the forest from the trees or something. Like, what a weird thing. And the happy ending? Dave, thoughts on this blurb?
I see where they're coming from, but that's like looking at a beautiful tapestry and telling me what one of the threads looks like. Because that's one story, but it's true. I don't want to call it an emancipation because it's a toxic relationship, but it feels like it's a toxic relationship to both. Like Mark, I think Christian honestly would tell you that he feels emotionally manipulated to stay in this. Maybe it's because he's such a he's a fucker. Is he a good boyfriend? Just yes or no questions, real quick. I'm going to rapid fire you, Chris. Is he
No,
a good boyfriend?
no.
Is he a good friend?
To her or
He's
to the assholes?
to the rest of his merry band of assholes. He steals one dude's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
oh,
right.
that's what your
No.
thesis is. My thesis too. And then as soon as that dude disappears, he's like throws him under the bus. I don't know that dude. I don't collaborate with him.
That is true.
I
I
mean,
forgot about that. Yeah.
he oh, even long before he falls under the love spell, he's cheating on Danny.
Yeah.
When they're sitting there and she comes out and kicks him, they're playing a game called Skin the Fool, and he's like, "Can anybody play?" And Pelly is an asshole too because he's setting it up. He's like, "Yeah, go play." And then he grabs Danny first chance. He's like, "He's an asshole, Danny. Do you feel held? Does he feel like home to you?"
Right. Yeah.
He's putting a move on his friend's girl.
Oh, I think that goes into the cult trying to bring in Danny. They're like,
yeah, oh yeah,
driving that wedge deeper and deeper with that, and
so the tapestry at the start. Can I talk about the tapestry for a minute?
Yeah.
It tells the story of the movie. Is that a tapestry in the village? Like, did the gods plan this whole thing for Danny to be pulled to the village to is this all under their purview?
Did we ever see it again?
I don't think we saw that one. We see the tapestries used because there's the one which is, I mean, frankly, it's a graphic children's drawing of a vagina bleeding into a cup and being trimmed to make hair pie.
I was never doodled as a child. I mean, was I the only one drawing that? Just me?
Yeah, I never drew a vagina that in that manner when I was a child. No,
I feel like that's a thing that I mean, Nightbreed had that, so I'm not too moved one way or the other about it. Like if it's just something that showed at the beginning, I don't know. Whenever that kind of thing pops up, I'm just like even if it is like a plot point at some point, like it was a Nightbreed, a lot of the times I'm just like, no, this ain't for me. Like, why does this need to be a thing? Like the prophecy.
Why did there need to be like 13 of them? Sidetracking to the prophecy real quick, but anyway, the prophecy movies.
Oh, were there? I don't know that I ever even watched a single one.
I watched the first one, and then they turned them out so quick, and they started immediately like direct to video. I was like, okay, now I'm out.
I remember when they came out, but I did not watch any of them. So let's get to this ending. The happy ending. DigitalSpy.com refers to it as. And I read through some discussions online, and it kind of goes back and forth. Some people do think that it was a happy ending. Like Danny's smiling, her toxic boyfriend's dead, burned alive. And she's got a home with the weird cult now.
So happy for the cult. They get their magic. They get their sacrifice.
Yeah. I do not see this as a win. I do not see this as a happy ending. I mean,
it could be a happy ending for Danny.
I mean, I feel like she's got kind of gaslit into being a part of these people, and now she's stuck in this weird cult in a foreign country, and her air quotes friends, even though all of them, everyone was an asshole, are dead now, murdered by the cult that she is now indoctrinated into, and she's drugged, and all this trauma and stuff.
Without the drugs, she wouldn't be able to speak Swedish, and now she does.
Oh, that's true. It was a happy ending.
Yeah, and she misses emotional connection, like from the very start, even before the deaths have occurred. Just something suspicious going on. Christian is wishy-washy about everything, and she wants to say, "Hey, I need you," but she doesn't have the gumption to say that. Instead, she says, "Are we hanging out tonight?" Oh, I thought I was going to, actually have fun. Oh, yeah, that's fine. He doesn't connect her like he pops in. You asleep? I'm going to the party, hoping she wasn't going to go. He invites her to the trip, hoping she wasn't going to go. He's
Yeah.
she's looking for connection. She's starved for connection, and she finds it. Now, could she have maybe wooed Pele away from the cult into the cult of Danny's vagina? It's possible. It's possible if she really had put the effort in. It's possible because
Mayhaps.
I am a fan of Florence Pugh. So
how could you not be? How could you not be?
right.
But
She's no AT&T girl, but
any final words on Midsommar?
The more I have watched it, the more I like it. So I'm really, I think that even carried through to the watch for the episode. And usually, like I'm very, if I'm into it, where I'm pausing and taking notes and drawing sketches based on things in the movie.
If you're drawing sketches, it's real.
Then it's very, but it becomes very clinical and less about the enjoyment of the movie. But like I did very much enjoy the stuff I dug into, and I may continue to dig. I may do my thesis on Midsommar.
Okay.
So.
All right. So that said, we're going to hit another ad, and then we're going to come back, give you our overall ratings. We're not reviewers, but we got ratings. Give them to you, and then we'll be out for the week. So we'll be right back. This was your pick. You're big on this. I'll go first, and then you raise us back up.
Okay.
Okay. So for me, I have had a very fluctuating rating with this, starting out as high as 5.5 and going as low as a 4.
Oh my. Okay.
The ending really drug on for me. And it lost a 1.5 during this. I'm like, get to the goddamn point, please. And so that really hurt me. But discussing it tonight, I've brought it back up. Happy medium, 5 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't love this movie. I didn't
Clearly.
get a whole lot extra from it in this viewing. But I can respect the other people too. But simply, there's some horror moments, but overall, it just don't have the horror I need. It's almost, it's borderline art or borderline like this weird dramatic thing.
It is. The horror of grief, the horror of longing. So
yeah, but that's I'm sitting at 5 out of 10. I'd watch it again, but I ain't gonna try to. Now raise this back up with your opinion.
I will absolutely do that. So I probably would have been about a 5 after the first viewing. I was very cold on it, or very neutral. I'll say I was very neutral on it.
Yeah.
But as I've started to peel back layers, as I've watched it a few times and noticed some different things and noticed just more and really look at the layers as I've peeled back that onion, I like it a little bit more. I'm all the way up to an 8. Your score of 5, in the past when I've predicted what you were going to score, I'm usually pretty close. I was not very close. I thought you would be at 6.5. Really? So 5's not incredibly low to that, and 5 is a that's a C score. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay. There is way worse movies.
There are going to be a lot of movies that were a lot higher on this year, and
I don't know. 8's pretty high, man. 8's pretty high. You know what? We need an intern. We need the intern to do the average of all the scores that we've given movies in the horror house, just so we can look back and see what the overall combined score would be. I ain't doing that. Somebody can.
Okay, so our average for this movie is 6.5. Which is what my prediction for you would have been. So that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. It is.
Sorry, Ari.
The world is made up of all kinds of people, Chris, and that's okay.
This is true. This is true.
If you want to hit us up on the socials and let Chris know how wrong he is,
I apologize.
Hit us up on Twitter at Sweetness1 with 6 E's or at Horror House 2 because Chris's score should have been at least 2 higher.
You can email us horrorhousepodcast@gmail.com or go to the Horror House page on Facebook.
You can leave us a voicemail and we're going to play it on the air. Have fun, cuss, scream, yell, tell us how handsome we sound or how we're big fat idiots. And you can do that at anchor.fm/horror house.
And finally, rate us. Rate us wherever you're listening, whatever platform it is. We love ratings, man. Give us a rating.
No. I eat them up. No.
He does. Can't get enough of them, this guy. And
it sustains me.
Share us with anybody you know that likes the horror, likes to hear people talking about the horror. We got a big season planned. So stick around. We got some big movies, some big horror topics. Because you know us, we can't just do the movies. We gotta spread our wings and fly. And those will be coming very soon.
We got a lot of good stuff for you this season. And we want your feedback. Hit us up. Let us know which direction to go.
And with that, we will talk to everybody next week. We're out.
Bye.